Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited because I'm going to do my very first Q&A video. I've gotten so many questions and comments on my Rental Kitchen Makeover video series that I figured I'll do a Q&A and just answer all those questions in more detail in one spot. But before I get started, I'm just curious how many of you guys are renters who have made updates to your space or want to make updates to your space. If that's you, leave a comment below and let me know what you're dreaming about doing to your rental. Okay, let's get started. So the first question asked, how do you go about asking your landlord to let you remodel the house? So this is by far my most popular question, and I know that there are a lot of renters out there who want to make updates to their rental. So I'm kind of gonna go back and go through the step-by-step of how we went about doing this. So just to give you a little backstory, my husband and I actually found our rental online and it was listed with a rental management company. So initially we had no contact with the landlord. A rental agent came and showed us the property. We looked around. I loved all the charming character that it had, but it was dated and there were some updates I wanted to make, which I expressed to the rental agent. She, of course, said that she needed to talk to the landlord about all of that. And it's always kind of tricky when you're dealing with a rental management company or a middleman because you never really know how that information is going to be relayed. So I asked her if we could set up a face to face meeting with the landlord, and that way I personally could share all my thoughts and ideas with him directly instead of having her play the messenger. So we were able to set up a meeting with him. We met at the house, we walked through. I shared my ideas about what I wanted to do to the kitchen. And he was basically like, if you're willing to put forth the labor, then I will put forth the money as long as it's within a reasonable budget. So I went home, drafted up a design plan for him that basically had some inspiration photos. It had a mood board with some of the products and materials that I would want to use and the pricing and a budget of $1,400. I presented it to him and he approved it, and that's kind of how all this came to be. So one thing I highly recommend if you want to make updates to your rental, try to schedule a face-to-face meeting with the landlord. And if you can't do that, then maybe draft up a very detailed email that has some inspiration photos, maybe a list of the materials and a price sheet. So that way the landlord has a very clear idea of what it is that you want to do and where their money is going. I will say that it did get a little tricky when it came to how we would actually be paid the $1,400. So again, this was because we were dealing with a rental management company. And initially my thought was that I would purchase the materials, I would send the receipts to the rental management company, and they would let the landlord know, and then the landlord would reimburse me. But the rental management company didn't really want to act as a bank, so to speak, and be responsible for getting money from the landlord and then transferring those funds to me. And the landlord didn't just want to give me $1,400 because there was no guarantee that I wouldn't just run away with the money. So what we decided to do was just have the payment deducted from our rent. And that was the easiest way to go about all of that. The next question says, love the work, but it's a rental. Aren't you worried about the security deposit? So, no, I wasn't worried about losing the security deposit because, again, we got permission from the landlord in writing before starting any of this. And I cannot stress the in writing part enough. I know there's a lot of renters who want to make updates, and a verbal agreement will not suffice. Okay, so I don't care if the landlord is your best friend, I don't care if it's your mother, you need to have everything in writing. In addition to having everything in writing, I also added two clauses to our lease agreement. And this was because we were doing a little bit more than just cosmetic changes. So we weren't just painting, we were going to be removing countertops, installing new ones. And so I wanted to add a clause in there that stated, furthermore, it is understood that the tenants may perform the work themselves or hire a contractor at their discretion. It is at the tenant's discretion to deem the work satisfactory. Landlord may review the work upon completion. However, if landlord deems the completed work unsatisfactory, tenant will not be held responsible for any cost or labor associated with changes the landlord once made. So that way, if for some reason the landlord wasn't happy with my craftsmanship or how something turned out, I would not be held responsible for fixing it. And that was really important because, again, we were making bigger updates and it was kind of a DIY thing. So I wanted to make sure that if for some reason things weren't up to his standards, I wouldn't be responsible for fixing it. Thankfully, of course, he was happy with the results and everything worked out smoothly. But again, it was just something important to add. Another clause that I had added to the lease agreement was about our rent payment. So, again, because we were making bigger improvements that would increase the value of the property, I wanted to make sure that if we are to renew our lease at the end of the year, that the rent won't go up. So, we added a clause in there that if we choose to renew, the rent price would stay the same. And just so you guys know, I used to be a realtor, so I knew how to go about all of this and what terms and conditions needed to be added to make sure that I was protected. But if you're planning on making bigger updates to your rental and you're not comfortable with contracts and things of that nature, I definitely recommend either working with a real estate agent or even a lawyer to make sure that you are protected. The next question says, I don't understand why you would decide to rent somewhere that you don't really like and then choose to make updates to a place that you're just renting. I just think this is a waste. So, this was kind of a snarky comment, but I really wanted to address it because I know that there are people who feel the same way. And like I said, I used to be a realtor, so I completely understand the concept of not investing in a house that you do not own. But the reality is, there are more renters now in the US than there has been in 50 years. And especially when the housing market crashed, you had people who were once homeowners struggling from foreclosures and short sales that were being pushed into the rental market. Then you had college students who were graduating who couldn't get high paying jobs to afford homeownership. And then you had people like my husband and I who simply don't know where we want to live permanently. So it just makes more sense for us to rent. So the rental market is super saturated right now. And where I live, it's very rare that you'll find a rental that doesn't need some work. And especially in markets like New York and LA, the bigger markets, there are people who spend tens and thousands of dollars updating their rental. So updating a rental is really not that uncommon anymore. And for me, I kind of just believe that you should do what makes you happy and improves your quality of life. And your home environment is the most important environment that you will be in that will impact your well being. So, if you're going to be living in a place for a few years and you want to make some updates and your landlord is in agreement with that, then by all means, do what makes you happy, do what improves your quality of life. For me, the landlord actually paid for the updates, so it definitely wasn't a waste from a financial point of view. But even if he didn't, I just saw this as a great opportunity for me to do what I love, to flex my design muscle, and also to create some fun and inspiring content for you guys. So, just the simple fact that so many of you were inspired and found some ideas for your own rental or home just makes it all worth it for me. Next question says, love, love, love your home. It turned out beautifully. Would love to know where you purchased the settee and white tulip table. And another commenter says, beautiful. Where did you get the frames for the recipes? So thank you guys so much. The table is from overstock.com. The settee is from wayfair.com. And the frames are from CB2. And I actually put together a Pinterest board that has all the products and decor and links to it. So if you guys are ever curious where something was from, you can check that out. I'll link it below. The next question says, great job. What was the total amount you spent on upgrading the kitchen? So the total amount for the remodel was $1,800, and remember, $1,400 of that was from the landlord, and then I put forth $400 out of my own pocket for some additional supplies and materials that we needed, and that money doesn't include money that I spent for decor and accessories and things of that nature. But if you want to know exactly how much everything costs in this kitchen, I did a complete budget breakdown on the blog, so I will link that below. Next question asks, so stunning, love the upgrades. Just a quick question with the vinyl flooring, can you wash it? And then someone else asked, how is the flooring holding up? So yeah, the flooring is holding up perfectly. I've been so surprised by how durable it is. It's literally the best invention ever, especially for renters because it's removable. And yes, you can mop it just like regular floors. So with a mop and bucket or a Swiffer, just like you would mop regular floors. And I did a full review on the flooring on the blog. I'll link that below if you want to check it out. And the last question, did you stain your countertops? So no, I did not stain my countertops, but I know it looks that way because if you watch part 2 of the Rental Kitchen Makeover video, you'll see the countertops in their natural form, and it's just a raw maple wood, very light colored. But then after I sealed them with the wood conditioner, it actually naturally darkened them to more of an oak color. And I'm so happy with them because I actually thought about staining them a darker color, but then once I sealed them, they naturally darkened and I couldn't be happier. So that's something to consider before you stain your countertops. See what color they naturally change once you seal them. You might not even have to do it. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. If you want me to do more of these type of videos where I answer your design questions or renter questions or whatever questions you have, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, thanks so much for watching. Bye.